Welcome everyone to the mentoring session with Alex Antolino on how to build a brand that people trust. My name is
Hey,
Hit.
what's up, everybody?
I'm the head of design at Slush, and we have Alex with us here in the call. Thanks for being here and welcome.
All right. So first of all, hello, everybody. I'm really excited to be here with you guys for the next hour. As Tommy said, I would love to see you guys if possible. If you're in your pajamas, you can still be in your pajamas. That's fine. But if you want, you can turn your camera on so we can have a more personal interaction today. Hey, yeah, so cool. I see more people turning on their cameras. Hello, everybody. Cool. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen now. Mm-mm-mm-mm. And while I'm doing this, all right, right now I get to see your chat, but I don't get to see you. So I'm just gonna go through these and then we jump on the conversation, okay? So today we're here to talk about how to build a brand that people trust, right? And what does that mean for branding, the word trust, okay? I'm a creative director. I work at Typeform for the last 5 years. I run the Typeform brand and create the creative team. I'll talk about this in a minute. And yeah, basically I'm super focused on branding. That's branding is my thing. I think branding is super important in today's society, and that's why I join you guys in events like this to help people understand and leverage the power of brands. So let's get started. A little bit of context on who I am. So I started my career on film. This might surprise some people. My background is not design. My background is film and storytelling. So I started making commercials for fashion brands and tech companies. Also, I was doing a lot of documentary. This is actually when I was at Burning Man, shooting the documentary of a feature film that we put out on Netflix a year later. I also do electronic music, love techno, and I've been running the creative team for 5 years at Typeform. Beautiful people, great stuff. And I love public speaking because I like to share the power of brands with people. I prefer real life events. I think they're much more fun. They're much more warm. But hey, happy to be here with you guys and at least get to see you and meet you online. All right. So I also like to share my content on Instagram. So feel free to check my Instagram and please DM me and let's start conversation there. Right. So to understand brand, I think we need to go to the core and try to figure out what's the purpose of branding, right? Why do we do branding as companies, right? And when you ask this question, many people will say, okay, it's differentiation, right? Brands exist so customers can differentiate one product from the other one. And that's correct. That's a true statement. But I would say brands are much more than that. All right. Brands are much more stuff and have much more power than just differentiation. And so if brands are more than differentiation, what is a brand? Right. And I think a brand is the perception people have from a commercial entity. And I'm going to stop here for a second. Like, commercial entity, what does that mean? I chose this because, yes, it can be a company. Like, most brands are companies, right? But it also can be like a product. A product can be a brand, and a person can be also a brand. But I say commercial entity because we only talk about brands on the commercial space. My friends are not brands; they're my friends, right? And this is very important. So we can imagine that branding will have to be related somehow with like a business or like a business goal or an organization's goal, right? Now, I want to also stop here for a second. Perception. And there's this quote that I really like by Martin Neumeyer: each customer has a different brand of you. What that means is that we as founders, marketers, I see, like a lot of founders here and marketers on this group, we don't control our brands. I think at this stage, most of people know this. I don't think we need to explain why a brand is not just your logo. I think we've heard this in every conference, but it's the idea that every brand is slightly different in every customer. That's also very important. I'm not sure if this is gets talked enough. I like to say that whether you're aware of not or of it or not, you're doing branding, right? So you have a brand as a person, as a company. The moment you have a company, you have a brand. The moment you're online, you have a personal brand, and the brand exists. Now it's up to you to control your interactions or align those interactions for a reason or not, right? But the brand exists, and people are going to have a perception of who you are, of what your company means to them, regardless of you doing branding or not. So what is branding? Branding is actually the act of owning every interaction, so you can, so the perception of people and the perception you want to have is aligned. Okay. So what is the purpose of branding? We said it's more than differentiation, it's trust, right? It's to build trust. So branding is not here to sell products. The only purpose of branding is to build trust. And when people trust your company, you happen to sell more. But that's not the goal. The goal is to build trust, because for every company, trust, as I said, becomes money, and we know companies like money. All right. So how do we build trust in our brands? I like to think about trust in 3 different areas. And by the way, this also applies to people. I think brands are like people. I say this all the time. Brands are like people. So anything you can think of a person, you can apply those ideas to a brand, and it works the same. That's how I learned branding, not going to branding school. Just it's human behavior, okay? So what are these 3 areas? Capacity is the first one. So how good are you at solving other people's problems? Coherency, how good are maintaining your perception over time? And then consideration, how good are you at showing that you care about your customers, being considerate with your customers, right? If you're interested in this, I'm not going to stop here because I already consumed 15 minutes. I talk a lot. So, but if you're interested in digging this, I have a video with the future build branding basics. You can go check it out on YouTube, easy to find, or you can ask me on Instagram. I'll share the link with you guys. Okay, so let's go to the meat here. Well, not me because I'm vegetarian, but like how to create an irresistible brand. All right. This is the most important thing. Now, there's a quote that I really like by Dale Carnegie, and he says, to be an interesting person, you need to be interested. And as I said, brands are like people. It applies. It's the same, right? So to create an irresistible brand, you need to create an interested brand, right? Interested of who? Well, anyone, basically, anyone that could potentially buy your products, anyone that could potentially have the problem that you are here to solve. So we said to build trust in your brand, there's capacity, coherency, and consideration, right? So let's break it down. Let's see how we can actually build trust in each one of those areas. So first one, capacity, right? So when we talk about capacity on your business, we're talking about your product, but also we're talking about your content. I'm talking about content marketing, right? It's like a product. You just give it for free, but it's a product, right? You're solving your people's problems with content instead of with a product or thing you sell, right? If you do this right, you can have revenue, pretty important for a company. You're gonna have brand awareness, and then you're gonna have brand loyalty. And I say brand awareness because people will talk about you properly and show that you care. You need to build a community. And some people, and including myself at the beginning of last year, are like, how do we build a community? Oh my God, it's so complicated. Well, it's not. Like, you just open a Facebook group, you just open a Slack group, and that's it. You just invite people. 5 will say no, 1 will say yes. And then over time, you'll have like 50 people there. Right now, we have like 800 people on our Video Ask. So Typeform's new product is called Video Ask. This is the brand that I'm currently running. So we created a Slack community at the beginning of last year. We have 800 users now that we talk every single day with them. So what this makes is, like, we all know user-driven innovation, right? We've heard this in conferences. We do this when we try to add new features. We do user research, right? Well, if you have a community of engaged users or potential users, or just like an Instagram account, where you talk with people, you have an audience that maybe haven't bought your services yet, you can create a user-driven brand. And you can start asking what you want to see. When do you like us the most? What do you want to see from us? Okay. And I'm going to give you a little framework here. You have curiosity, right? Connection and support. It's very simple. Human relationships, right? When you go networking to an event, what do? If you want to be a nice person, you probably show interest for the other person. Unless you want to be that douchebag that shows up on a networking event, start talking about their app, and no one gives a shit. But we don't want to be that white boy, right? We want to show interest for someone, right? So be curious, right? This is literally this September I put out just a Slack message that it took me like 1 minute to write, saying, hey, I'm Antolino, I'm creative director here at Video Ask. I literally want to understand how you guys use Video Ask, so feel free to share your use cases with me. Got a lot of people who reach out because they're proud of what they built with Video Ask. They want to share with me. So I'm interested, and I talk with them. I jump on a call. That was probably very early in the morning. That's why I look like this. But yeah, I just jump on a call with them, and I learn more about stuff. And you know what? You're surprised on how people use your product. That's beautiful when this happens, right? And then I support them, right? So what I do is like, okay, this story is pretty cool. I'm just gonna amplify it. I'm just gonna put it on our Instagram or whatever, or like I'm gonna create content and then push it. And that's for an up until now, that's the majority of our advertisement is built like that. We just don't build up stories. We just use our stories that already exist. I'm not gonna come here and claim that you can do it 100% ads like this, but you can very easily do 80% ads like this. Okay, number 2, coherency. So how do you build up your coherency? Your logo, your identity, your strategy, your brand strategy, right? This, if you do it right, makes you be recognizable over time, builds your coherency over time. And then you get identification, you get differentiation and business opportunities, right? Because if you understand who you are, you can easily figure out who you want to work with. I'm just going to give you a hint here. I'm not going to stop here because, again, I don't want to steal the show too much, but embrace the power of real. Maybe I'm biased because I'm working on Video Ask. Video Ask is online forms done with video. It's very simple. If David Okoniev, the creator and co-founder at Typeform, hears me say this, he's gonna smash my head to the floor because he will say it's much more than this. And yes, probably it is. But just so you understand very quickly, it's online forms that you go with video, right? And what we realized is that, especially with everything happened up until now, video and like human-to-human connections are much more powerful than any kind of story you can figure out. Trust me. At Video Ask, we like to say personal is the new professional. And it's true. I mean, like, you can take my word, you can go research, you can maybe have your experience, but I recommend you mark these words. Number 3, we know this year hasn't been easy. Many things going on. Black Lives Matter, COVID, a lot of wildfires, things like that. Not easy, okay? So out of these 3, capacity, coherency, and consideration, which one do we think it's gonna be more important this year? Yay! Being a considerate person, right? Same for brands. No one gives a shit about your shiny products. They just want to feel understood and that you get their back, right? And that you're here for them when they are gonna have a problem. So this year, especially important, we take care of these kind of things, right? Customer service and our communication. If we nail this and we actually show empathy when we do those things, we're going to have brand loyalty. People are really going to connect with us. They're going to stay with us for longer. And if we do this really, really well, they're going to talk about us. I like to say kindness is the best brand awareness strategy. And it's true. It works for relationships and it works for everything, right? This year's caring is more important than being cool, right? If you need to remember anything from this presentation, just remember this, okay? All right, now let's have a chat. I'm actually gonna stop sharing my screen.
Yeah, perfect. Alex, thank you so much for this fantastic presentation. And thank you for
Absolutely.
with the screen sharing. We're going to start with the questions and answers sort of section of this session. So please, if you have questions, just pour them into the chat with the letter Q in front so that I can moderate